Hello and welcome to the webinar. My name is Mark Ruther, I'm UK National Sales Manager for NEC. Within this webinar we'll be looking at all of the terminals that you can actually connect to the SV9100. So we'll be having a good look into the digital terminals that are available to connect to the 9100. The vast amount of IP terminals that we can actually connect as well. I don't think our portfolio of IP terminals has ever been so big, but yet again, giving choice and value to a customer has to be a good thing. Some of our handsets can have a different look and a feel to what you may have traditionally known. We've got a new handset that's actually come into the portfolio that has to have that portal mode of working, and all of that will become apparent as we go through this presentation. That new way of working is what we call portal mode. Okay, the old mode will be what we call classic mode, funny enough. We'll also be looking on DSS consoles, the benefit and the different types of those devices, as well as the headset connection. We're very fortunate as well, within our range we have what we call GT range handsets. These are yet again could be based on price, look and feel, why the customer decides why you should choose that type of handset. I'm going to touch on that a little bit more when we get on to the next slide. And of course, not forgetting those organizations that require an analog extension. Yes, quite right, any analog extension connect to most telephone systems, but customers want to have a continuity of brand. So they want to have an NEC telephone system, they want NEC digital extensions, they want NEC IP extensions, and they want NEC analog extensions. They don't want a BT brand or another brand. They want an NEC brand throughout. So let's have a quick overview of all the handsets that are available. Now, I think it's fair to say that we've never been so spoiled with the amount of handsets and choice that we can actually provide a customer. Now, starting on the left-hand side, we'll be looking at these handsets individually, so don't think I'm cutting you short. The DT920 and the 930, these are our IP handsets that were launched back in August of 2019. Here we are in 1st of May 2020, so they're relatively new. These are what we call proprietary IP handsets. What I mean by that is that all the functionality that the telephone system can offer, you're able to access via these terminals, okay? Where underneath we have the GT210 and the GT890. These are non-proprietary. Now, that doesn't mean they've got no functions. They do, but they are limited, so you have to be careful on your placement of those with your customer. But they have, different prices, a different look and a feel, and as I said, they do have functionality, which hopefully I'll explain as we go through. And of course, the DT530 series are digital handsets, and the AT50 and 55s are analog. And the image in the middle there is, yet again, giving you a bit of taste of what this portal mode is all about, which we'll get into as we get through the presentation. So starting off with digital terminals, before we get into the 500 series handsets, which were launched back in August of 2019, we have the ability to offer the DT400s, which were the series before, obviously the 500s, to give us a little bit more choice in the digital sort of market. So we have a two-line button handset at the top left hand side there. We have a 6-key handset there as well with a display. When I talk about keys, I'm going to touch on those as we go through, but in essence we can program a button to have a feature under it to make our lives a little bit easier. We all use PCs, we all use laptops, we all create shortcuts to programs that we use on a regular basis. Yeah, makes sense. So why not do the same when you've got a telephone system? Why not make it easier for that individual to use the handset? Okay, so a 2-key line handset, just got 2 keys, got no display, ideal for handset in areas where they don't get used a lot. It could be in a meeting room, it could be in a workshop. who knows where you want to place it, it's totally up to you. Okay, then going on to a 6-line key. Now that handset there, the DT410, has a display, so in its idle state I can see the time, the date, my extension number, even my name, and it has some prompts there to provide functionality. And yet again, if you've only got 6 keys and you may want to use some other functions like your system speed dial, etc., you can drive it because your display is going to enable you to do that. You can do that with a non-display, but yet again, you're going to have to be using codes and things like that, which can be a little bit of a long-winded way of getting around things. Okay, but looking at the DT430 handset, we've got 2 displays. Okay, so this is what we would call a DESI-less handset. So unlike the 6-key handset where you've got a label which the engineers can nicely print out, or you know, so it looks nice, with the DESI-less handset there's no labeling. It's all electronically and done in programming, so it'll always going to look fresh and new. Where over time, as we all know, if you've got a paper labeling system and you change the functionality frequently, it's going to look aged, dated very quickly. The old Tipex comes out. Of course, we can provide you more labels and the software for you to reprint them. Of course, we can do that. But a DESI-less handset looks, in my opinion, a lot fresher for a lot longer of a period. So don't forget, the DT400 handsets are still in our portfolio and within your Profix or CPQ. So moving on to the new range of handsets. So this is the digital handset range, so the 500 series. This is the 12-line key handset. And when we talk about keys, as I've already mentioned, I'm talking about these keys that my mouse is circling now. Program and features and facilities under those buttons will make life a lot easier for the customer. Okay, it is a microchrome display. It has 12-line keys. We'll be looking at add-on units shortly. So we have a little unit called an 8-key LK unit. So it gives me another 8 keys, and it bolts onto the nice to the side of the handset, nice and slender. And of course, we can have a 60-key DSS console. So yet again, another add-on that can just give us more keys, and which is traditionally used at a receptionist point to give us visibility of what our extensions are doing. Within the 500 series, we can actually see that the message waiting light now does actually go from top left to right of the whole display, so it's very, very difficult to ignore a message waiting. Why would you want to consider a message waiting? Well, it's a basic feature. You may not want to give people voicemail, but you want to make people aware that you want to talk to them. So when you call an extension, and it just rings out, you have an option. Your display will change where it says in this display at this moment in time, you got this directory, ICMM program. When you start generating a call, in the display here will provide you all the functionality that you can do at that point, and one of those would be message waiting. Okay, so pressing the message waiting would light up the user's handset in this area here, and in a different color. Okay, blue, red, green, whatever you want. Okay, the handset does have a headset port. Okay, underneath you can connect EH headsets, so yet again cordless headsets. We'll touch on headset connection shortly. These handsets are also available in white, but before you take an order, these are not normal stock items. We can get them. There could be a lead time, so please contact your supplier before you place an order, because it could be up to 3 months waiting. So yet again, just want to set your expectations there right away. And these handsets are available to work on the CP10 as well, of course, as well as the CP20. So going on to the next handset, there's no great deal of difference here, other than instead of having 12 keys, we've got 24 keys. And yes, you can still add on an 8-key LX unit or a 60-key DSS, not a problem at all. So you just got more keys to program those functionality features under. So getting on to the IP handsets. So first and foremost, I just want to reiterate something that I said earlier. when we're looking at the DT920s and the 930 handsets, these are proprietary NEC handsets. So all the functionality that you'd expect from a handset, you've got it in abundance by using a proprietary handset. The only time we have to be a little bit careful and thoughtful is when we're using the GT range, which are non-proprietary, but do offer functionality, but in a different way. Okay, it's all about making sure we manage expectations. So a 6-key proprietary handset, obviously we talked about keys already. It's exactly the same on an IP handset. We have 6 keys to program features and facilities under. The message waiting light on the IP handsets are not as big. You can actually see it takes up less space, but yet again you can have multiple colors message waiting light. It's backlit. We'll talk about XLR support. I just want to go back a bit, rewind. When you're talking to customers, you should be also talking about the condition of the LAN, because you're talking about IP here. You can have an option to have a gigabit license deployed into the handset. So that would allow you to connect your laptop and get gigabit to your laptop through one outlet on the wall. Okay, so let me run that past you again. When you're looking for a PC and a telephone, and you only got one Cat5 cable, let's say, well, we can obviously connect that into the handset, and the back of the handset is a 2-port switch. We can put a piece of Cat5 into that and connect it to your laptop, okay, connecting you to the LAN. And if you want gigabit, not a problem at all. It's just a license. Now, the reason I'm pointing that out, ladies and gentlemen, is that our competitors don't have that option, I don't believe. Okay, so if that is a consideration, whether that be right now or in 6 months, 12 months, whenever, our protection of investment story is a fantastic one, because for us it's just a license and it's a minimal amount, where our competitors would have to sell them another handset. Okay, so it's a good part of your, obviously, your longevity of the product, the protection of the investment, and yet again making it more difficult for our competitors to compete has to be a good thing. The handset is backlit. We'll be looking at XML support shortly. The handset models have been redesigned, so they are slimmer to what they've traditionally been in the past, and again does support headset EHS. The handset is PoE only. Okay, so the local area network, wide area network must have PoE switches in order for the handset to be powered. And of course, is available on the CP10 and the CP20. Going on to the next handset is exactly the same, other than we have now 12 keys instead of 6. So yet again, something that you need to remember is not only the optional switch, it goes for all of our proprietary handsets, whether those be IP or digital. Within the handset itself, okay, in the handset is an inductive coupler, which means that those people that wear hearing aids, we can get the engineers to make sure every time that person picks up the handset, it's at the right level, so it doesn't create that horrible feedback noise, that high-pitched whistling. It's built in. Yet again, it's a little differentiation maybe between us and our competitors. Okay, so the inductive coupler is built in over all of our proprietary handsets. Yet again, we've got the gigabit switches we've already mentioned, XML support, PoE only. Moving on to a self-labeling handset, okay, a DESI-less handset. There's quite a lot to get through here. It's full duplex. It can work in various ways, which we're going to touch on very shortly, a classic way and a portal way. It has the ability to have that gigabit license addition, as well as an optional page license. Okay, so on this handset, you've got 8 keys. We've talked about keys. These are doing exactly the same, but you've only got 8. But you can have additional keys by just adding licenses. So it'll put different layers under these keys, and you can have a maximum of 32. Okay, just by adding a license. It supports EHS, RJ9, it's extended message waiting light, it again goes from the top left to right, it's colour, it's backlit, and it's XML support. So give you an example of something that we're working on right now. We've got something called Snapshot, which can take an image. Let's say somebody's hitting the door phone, they hit the door phone, we can take an image of that, not a video, an image, and deliver it into the display. Okay, XML support, that's what all it is about. You may have a CRM where you've got some sales today information. You can import that information into the handset if you really wanted to do it. XMLs are a very broad type subject. There's a lot of information available on BusinessNet. If you don't know where it is, then obviously talk to your NEC representative, they'll sort it out for you. Okay, it's PoE only, it's 802AF compliant. It can work on the CP10, but in the classic mode only. But on the new CP20, you can work in classic and portal mode. Okay, we're getting to that portal mode shortly, I promise. Okay, so you have a choice on how you want your handset to look and feel. Then we get onto the 24 key large display. So this is 4.2 inch color display handset. Yet again, you have an option of working in a classic and a portal mode. You can have 8 images on the portal mode, and we'll talk about that shortly. It supports the DSS console, whether it's 60 key and an 8 key. It has message waiting light. It's XML support again. It is available in white, but be mindful of those lead times that I've already mentioned. You can have a headset. It's PoE, as well as you can have an AC adapter. So yet again, if you want to use this handset at home, you plug in an adapter at the back of the handset and plug it into a normal 240 volt socket, as you would do if you was charging your mobile phone. Okay. Now getting on to a touch handset. This is the DT930 Touch, the first touch handset in our range. Albeit we do have another one. This is proprietary, remember, so you're going to have the opportunity to have all those functions and features that you've always loved if you've used NEC handsets previously. But on the portal mode, it's only available on the CP20. So let me just refrain. Okay, let me just step back. This handset is portal mode only. It will have all that functionality as you would expect. Okay, this handset is only available on the CP20. Okay, it has the ability to have optional buttons. So yet again, like we had before, from 8 to 16, 24, 32. It can support a DSS console. It has extended message waiting. It's backlit, XML support, slim design, headset port, EHS, PoE on the LAN, as well as local PoE via an AC adapter. Has to be a good thing. So get to that portal moment very shortly, I promise. But going back to that self-labeling handset, the DT920, you can actually see it there when you're looking at the portal mode. You can actually see that the message waiting light is flashing, if that picks it up on the video. I think we spoke about most of the areas on the handset. The good point that I haven't touched is that the keypad is backlit, which is quite nice touch, so it looks really, really smart. And having that self-labeling, as I mentioned before, it prolongs its look and its feel. It always looks classic. But that's my personal opinion. Okay, and there's some fixed keys there as you'd expect, like recall feature, answer mic, etc. So it's an easy handset to maneuver. You can drive it through information that's actually been shown in display, or you can see here we have a bit of a menus driven aspect. So you can press right, you could get your missed calls, go to your directories and those sort of things. Yet again, giving you choice on how you want to use your handset, which is quite important incidentally, because if you are talking to an NEC customer that's been a customer for a long time, you know, 20 years when the Aspire was around, maybe we didn't have the luxury of having a navigation type menu. It was all, you know, from the display. But navigation wheels and the introduction of smartphones, people are a little bit quite more in tune of using those type of ways of working now. So yeah, again, just giving them choice. So portal mode, right? Let's explain. So we have several handsets that can work in either classic mode, which is there on the left. So our handsets have always worked. So when they're idle, you're going to get time, date, extension name, number, ICM, directory, program, and other. I think it is off the top of my head. Or you can use it in a portal mode. Yet again, no license required. This is just system programming from the engineers. Okay, so we have classic mode, portal mode. Remember that new touch handset, which is only available on the CP20, yeah, only works in portal mode anyway. Okay, so let's have a look at portal mode a little bit more close up. So as you can see in the top left, you can see that you've making a call, you know what extension number you're actually dialing it there, you know the time, the date. You can obviously have a menu for all your contacts, so like a directory. Where it comes a little bit different is that you can put some favorites, the people that you talk to on a regular basis. So you can add an image into the portal mode. Okay, some people like it, some people don't. Some people say it's gimmicky. I think it looks rather smart, to be honest. So you are able to see, you know, those people images within your display, and again you press it and guess what, it will dial them, of course. And also you would also get the ability to get some detail when you press those favorites. Here it's got its extension number. There could be other information underneath that's there. So it's a very simple concept, but just makes it look a little bit different, you know, compared to some of the non-proprietary or basic SIP handsets that our competitors selling unhosted. Yet again, a color display, yet again, makes a huge improvement as far as I'm concerned. Adding portal mode on as well, giving us a little different look and feel, certainly puts us in a very, very competitive position. So just looking at the handsets now, so on the left hand side we have the 8-key Desilos handset. Okay, that can work not only in a portal mode but in a classic mode as well. Then we have that large 24-key display handset that can actually work in a classic and a portal mode. But on the touchscreen, that is only available on the CP20, that only has one way of working, and that's in a portal mode. Now, this handset and this way of working, if you've got a dem kit in your premises, get it updated if you've not already done so, and have a play with portal mode. If you've got an in-house SV9100 running a CP20, start using portal mode, get used to it. Okay, because if you're using it, you're going to be a lot more encouraged and knowledgeable on how to position it with your customers. Okay, and I'm going to repeat that again shortly on a particular handset. So get them in, use them, get an idea how you can actually drive this handset. So the 8-key DSS and the 60-key DSS basically do the same function. Okay, they're just providing us more keys to program functionality under. Okay, so we had a 12-key, didn't we? We had a 24-key handset. You want more? Not a problem. You either put an 8 or a 60 on there, and you can actually see that these are the handsets that these are associated with. So the 12-key, 24-key, and the large 24-key display, and the same on the right-hand side, albeit as an additional one there. So be mindful of that. If you are doing your configuration via Profix or CPQ and you want a DSS console, an add-on unit, and you've not chosen these particular handsets, it will come up as a warning for you to make sure you'll be alarmed to go back and change to a relevant handset that will operate these DSS consoles. As it says there, note that the first DSS console connects directly to the handset. Additional consoles require a digital extension port and power supply. Yet again, in Profix and CPQ, that will automatically happen. Okay, if you're old-fashioned and you are doing your configurations on pieces of paper and you've got IP environment and the customer wants a DSS console, you're going to need a digital extension card to run the DSS console. Standard corded headsets, there are plenty of manufacturers to choose from. Me personally, I find it a minefield because there's so many choices, but I'm sure there in front of you are manufacturers that you recognise. I certainly do. It doesn't mean to say I can differentiate between all these different options that we have available now. The call is controlled via the keys on the terminal that we program. Incidentally, one for the ladies here, the headset can be permanently plugged into the back of the handset, and you just have a button to say, well, today I want to use the headset, but on a Friday we're going for a drink after work and I don't want to mess my hair up, so I'm going to use the handset. So they don't even have to unplug it and break the nails. They just leave it in there and just use the button to turn on and off the handset. How easy is that? The audio volume is controlled also by the handset, and it's a standard RJ11 connection. EHS headset connection is probably, these are more common now than they ever have been, to be fair, and yet again there's no reason why you can't suggest these to your customer. You probably already do. Just be aware that you need the cable options, which are highlighted there for those relatively, that's the wrong word, for those handsets that we have in our portfolio. Okay, so it's a Plantronics cable to the headset, and away you go. It's as easy as that, up to 100 meters. Say, you know, that's what they're saying. Now that does depend on the environment that individual's working in. If it's a new building, thin walls, you probably will, but if you're in a listed building and your walls are 3 foot thick, it's going to obviously reduce that signal. If you've got fluorescent lighting, if you've got welders and things like that, it all reduces a signal strength. Now at the start of all this, I actually spoke about the GT range, and I mentioned that these are non-proprietary, okay, so their functionality is somewhat limited, okay, so you have to be mindful of that, okay. However, these handsets do provide the customer an option. It does look a lot different than our own proprietary handsets. And it does have a very, very attractive price, okay, but if the customer is expecting to be able to page from this particular handset, you can't do that from this particular handset. So I just want you to be mindful, and if you customer wants to look at this handset because it's attractive from not only from a look and feel perspective, but from a cost perspective, just make sure that you contact your NEC account manager and qualify the functionality we can actually expect from this handset. It's a microphone display, it's dual port, it has a HD speakerphone, headset port, PoE and power supply. So yet again, for a home worker, why not? Why not consider this handset, but just be mindful of those functionality aspects. So moving on to the GT890. So this is a beautiful handset. It's non-proprietary, so yet again we have to be mindful of functionality, but I'm going to go through what we can actually expect with this very shortly. Okay, so it's built on Android iOS 7.0. It's 7-inch full screen touch panel. It's standard SIP. Okay, so yet again, feature set is not what you would expect from a proprietary handset. It supports video from a person that is using the same handset on the same LAN. Okay, be mindful of that. You just can't just send a link to Aunt Doris in Australia. You know, this is for internal use. It's Bluetooth. Okay, so you could pair up your mobile phone and play your music through it if you wanted to do that, or even take your mobile phone through it if you wanted to do that. It has a HDMI port, so yet again you may want to put it on a big screen. Okay, it has a headset port, multiple language based on iOS. This is only available on the SV9100 CP20. Okay, and does require a license from with Profix, which will apply. Now, as it says there in red, the GT890 can work or does work with what we call the ST500, which is our mobile app. Okay, so yet again there's continuity there, so we are using our own dialer technology. Okay, and that allows us to add more functionality than a bog standard SIP handset. Sounds all very confusing, I know, but yet again it'll become a lot clearer as we get to the next slide. And yet again, I'm hopefully encouraging you to get some installed in your office or on your dem kits, or yet again request your NEC account manager come and do your demonstration, or even come into Nottingham and have a demonstration day. Okay, so looking at this handset a little bit further. So this is the GT890. You can see there I've circled what within the ST500 a shortcut. Okay, before we get onto that shortcut, there are some pre-programmed icons, and I'll zoom in on this for you. So I can actually access very quickly my voicemail. I can set up the call forwards. I can withdraw from a hunt group. So there are already predefined functions under those icons. But like anything, you have the ability to add shortcuts, which most of the time is also associated with applications, isn't it? So things that you use on a regular basis. So this is a snapshot of what I've got on my dem kit, and also that also reflects on my ST500 app on my mobile. So I can call forward, I can go into a do not disturb state. I have to have a do not disturb cancel. Okay, so yet again, with a proprietary handset, you can have one key. Press it once, activate. Press it second time, deactivate. With a non-proprietary handset, I've got to have an activation key and a deactivation. So I've got do not disturb and do not disturb cancel. I've got call forward at the top there, call forward cancel further down. I don't know why I've done that. Park hold, unpark, day and night service, etc, etc. So there is a level of functionality within the GT890. You can get your emails to it. You can surf the net with it. It is Wi-Fi, it's Bluetooth. I think a couple of companies have had problems where they've got no cable in certain areas of their office to have a Cat5 physically connected into a handset. They've actually connected the handset over Wi-Fi. Okay, so quite a nice feature. I do encourage you, yet again, sick of saying this, I know, get to use it, have a play around with it. It's a lovely handset, but just be mindful of how you position this. In my opinion, this is an executive terminal. Do not give this to a receptionist, okay? Because a receptionist needs to make, take, receive, transfer calls very, very quickly. This handset can do it, but it's not as easy as the other options that we have in our portfolio. For me, I'd be giving this to directors that are making incoming internal calls and external calls. Don't do a great deal of transferring and holding and paging and all those sort of things that you'd expect. So the AT range, these are NEC, these analog business terminals, and the AT50 is handset. You can see there we have the ability to have them in white or charcoal. It has an LCD display, 2x16 digits. It supports handset volume control, as you'd expect, and has a 30 caller list. Okay, and it has any user lamp for things like message waiting. Ideal for hotel type sort of environments as well. Okay, I think it's fair to say that the most of the handsets on the analog side are sold at 55. Why? Basically, you've got 10 one-touch button keys, so yet again, adding some functionality under those keys makes life a lot easier. Speakerphone, it's half duplex, and has a 90 caller list. So yet again, continuity of brand is very important for a lot of customers, and that's exactly what we're doing here. Okay, yes, you can have any analog device that you want connected to a telephone system, but if you've got NEC throughout, I think it looks a more slicker type solution. So just concluding with some takeaways for you now. So all digital terminals have hearing aid compliancy. So yet again, that inductive coupler in the digital and the IP terminals in particular. The IP terminals have a dual port LAN interface underneath, okay? And don't forget those gigabit licenses and those extra line key licenses that you can have along the way. Obviously, a headset compatible terminal supports EHS. Go and talk to your preferred manufacturer about the different options that are required. You know, I would always speak to them, make sure they've certified their new headset on our handset or your handset that you're actually proposing to a customer. The DT920 IP terminals are PoE only, so remember that. The DT930s support PoE and AC adapters. So if you're working from home, you want a handset to work at home, and you don't have a PoE at home, not a problem. You just have to decide to have a DT930 with a local AC adapter, plug it into the wall, and you're good to go. And that portal mode, yet again, gives you the ability to upload 8 of your favorite individuals in your business, have their images there, and you can touch on them on the image. You've got a touch screen handset, and obviously dial from screen. So thank you for your time. I do encourage you to use some of those new handsets in your own environment, on your den kits. You're more than welcome to come to NEC and have a demonstration session, whether that be for half a day, a day. If you want us to come to you, that's not a problem at all either. So it just leaves me to say, my name's Mark Ramner. Thank you for your time and your patience, and look forward to talking to you very soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.